The cellar stones vibrate like lungs. A German sergeant crouches, helmet scraping dust. Above him, hundreds of B-17s sow a ceiling of thunder. The sound is unlike anything built for human ears. He counts heartbeats, wondering if the town itself can survive its own. Cassino is a hinge. Control it, and armies swing open the road to Rome. Lose it, and winter closes its fist. The sergeant feels the hinge grind above him as the bombers pass in rows On the ridge, the abbey sits like a stone memory. Monks keep records in silence, while below, soldiers dig. The Gustav line spreads across rivers and slopes, a stitched wound meant to hold back an army that once roamed for mule handlers, sappers, radio men, paratroopers. Across the valley, Americans load maps, British check watches, Poles whisper prayers, Indians sharpen kukris. Each believes the ridge can be taken. Each, in a rain-slick command tent, Albert Kesselring traces lines across a map. Hold the winter line, bleed them, buy time. He trusts the terrain as an ally, rivers as spears, mountains as shields, weather as conspirator.
Across the charts, Mark W. Clark studies the same rivers. Rome is not just a city, it's a headline that could turn war-weary eyes. He balances pride, politics, and logistics, knowing contrition. On an airfield far south, crews chalk messages on bombs. To Rome? To a ridge? They climb into B-17s and check gauges. The sergeant's world will soon be written in fire and ballast, delivered by and blast radii. The abbey's brothers catalog manuscripts, praying that neutrality is a shield. They hear guns below, receive refugees, write letters to armies. A library lamp pools the evening sky. Italy's armistice shatters neat fronts. Civilians flee, soldiers change badges, German units seize crossroads. In Cassino, the sergeant watches a town become a fortress, fire. The land itself resists. Rivers curl cold around boots, fields turn to glue, fog turns observation to rumor. Olive trunks become pillars of defense, railway embankments become walls. Everyone's in blood. Early raids teach everyone what sky can do. Bomb lines press Cassino's rail yards, blast craters fill with rain, and the sergeant feels the cellar breathe in new dust. The dread isn't the explosion, it's the sight.
Artillery maps sow grids over the town. Guns trade measurements, not anger. The sergeant learns the language of incoming. Whine, clap, shudder, then the small hail of stone. Precision becomes extraordinary loss. Civilians burrow into caves. Bread becomes a rumor. A mother wraps a child in blankets stitched with saints' names and hopes the ridge hears. The sergeant passes them without speaking. Hours measured by shells. January brings the river assault. The 36th Infantry Division crosses at night, rafts and ropes, into a flood of bullets. By dawn, the Rapido gives back bodies and silence. Cassino will ask not for speed, but for endurance. Bernard Freyberg studies ruin and possibility. The New Zealand Corps will take the town and perhaps the peak. He weighs patrol reports against fear. Is the abbey and artillery decision seems to rearrange the map of conscience. At the highest table, Harold Alexander threads together divisions. He wants a lesson taught. Break the Gustav line. Flow into the valley. But every thread tangles at slow-moving equations. Intelligence argues the abbey is not garrisoned. Observers may be nearby, but monks hold the hill. Yet troops under fire swear the stones are watching them. The sergeant sees figures move along.
February 15. The sky becomes arithmetic. Waves of bombers arrive, and the abbey dissolves into dust and flame. The sergeant feels the cellar grip him like hands. When the thunder where sanctity once did. In the echo, German paratroopers run to the ruins. Stones become loopholes, crypts become machine gun nests. The abbey's destruction removes sanctity and gives shape to defense. Wall now answers back. Street by street, New Zealanders and Indians grind forward. A hotel becomes an island of death. Engineers crawl with satchel charges. The sergeant hears footsteps in shattered stairwells. Another hour. On precipices, Gurkhas cut steps in rock, climbing in silence toward the monastery's shadow. Snow dusts ledges. Every ascent fails against unseen angles of fire. Hope can be a weapon. Kesselring's concept holds. Elastic defense, trade space for time. Counterattacks nip, then fade. The sergeant watches commanders turn days into traps, the kind that never spring loudly as a weapon. May begins as a drum roll, Operation Diadem. An artillery wall uncoils, armored teeth bite into the valley, and the night is cleaved into calendars of fire. The sergeant grips his rifle.
Polish Second Corps kneels in mud, prays, and climbs. Vladislav Anders orders the assault. Men carry rosaries and grenades. The ridge answers every footstep with splinters. Climb to a library. To the west, Moroccan Gumiers ghost through the Urumqi Mountains, turning cliffs and goat tracks into roads for an army. Their outflanking motion bites at the Gustav Line's ribs. Strategy. Under that pressure, German lines unhook. Mines click behind them. Bridges drop. Smoke curtains curl down streets. The sergeant's orders are simple. Fall back. Hold every shade of dust. Polish troops raise white and red near the ruins. Photographs fix a moment that tastes like ash. In the valley, engineers throw new bridges. The road to Rome opens, not cleanly, edged in smoke and argument. Mark Clark enters Rome, cameras running, while critics say the trap north could have snapped shut. Cassino's exhausted stones listen without opinion. Victory has a pause. Learns both are heavy. The sergeant returns in thought to the cellar. He remembers counting heartbeats under a sky made of engines. He wonders if the sound changed him more than any order. War is a language spoken by stone.
The abbey rises again in decades, stone by stone. Cassino's fields heal with seasons. But the question lingers. When sky becomes law, who writes the verdict? The sound of those engines is gone, yet its echo keeps asking.